ask anyway. The upside of that question is literally night and day. It can literally fast track your entire investment journey, but most people feel uncomfortable and won't ask the question. And when it costs you nothing to ask the question, I tell you, you can literally make some great leaps by just implementing this into your 2025 journey. So I want to share that with you, right? How can, asking anyway, how can we make this work? What would need to be true in order for us to make this work, right? Those are the kind of questions that completely change the game.
Who's this? Oh, you're an entrepreneur? Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, you're trying to learn from those who did it. Well, come into the lab then. Put your white coat on, gloves on, notepad, and let's build, y'all.
When you find yourself stuck in a situation or you've received information from someone and them giving you an answer would completely change the game, do you ask anyway? Or when you think someone might say no and that yes would make everything change the game or even expedite your results, do you ask anyway? Um, Recording this episode just to share with you some real life case studies this week of me asking anyway. And I really think this is a powerful tool that you should utilize in every aspect of your life, because it's completely changed the game and changed the trajectory and even expedited the experiments for me to do the thing to then be able to have the thing. And remember, having a thing is about having an impact that's bigger than you. It's not about you, it's about who loses if you don't win. So if you put that into perspective, any areas where you're blocked in life or where your experiments might not be working or you're not getting, insurance contracts, or you have some occupancy issues, or you need a raise at work, ask anyway. You don't know, you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take, time and time and time again. And if you're shooting every single day, there's a good chance that you can turn a lot of those, what you're anticipating to be no's, turn into yeses, which can change the trajectory of all your experiments. So I want to share with you some insights as to tactically what that looks like. So I had a situation where I actually had one business. I had two credit cards, one with a larger amount, one with a smaller amount, and I was trying to find a way. And I didn't know this at the time. I had called my bank for a different issue, and what the reason I want to actually highlight this is, because like there was always a little voice in me that was like, don't bother it, don't bother, Ruben. And then there was that other voice, which I'm grateful for, is I was like, just ask anyway. And so literally a rep was helping me. She's like, are you all set? And I really needed this because I think I was going for an increase or something like that, which didn't work out. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go in an alternative solution because I'm making a big investment. And then but then I asked, like, can I transfer like one of my limits to another card from the same bank? And the truth is, like, that in itself made my life so much easier, where I didn't have to like figure out like, oh, I should pull money from here and like I don't want to pull money from there. Like, just from a whole bookkeeping perspective, it's besides the point, right? This is actually a thing though. I was about to hang up and say no, I'm all set. But a voice in me said, just ask. Like, it literally costs you nothing to just ask anyway. If anything, you just collect more data. And I'll give you even more prevalent or, one more relatable, I have multiple relatable areas where this has occurred. So when I asked that question, she even hesitated. She was like, yeah, sure. Let me see what I can do. I'm like, you can do that in real time? She's like, yep, I can do it right now. And she did it, and it completely unlocked a big investment that I needed to make for my business. And had I not asked that question, would have like spun around and had to look for alternative solutions. And the thing is, speed is money. Money follows speed. And your time is not so much that your time is money, it's your time is your life. And so it's so important that we value that over anything. And so anytime you can speed up a decision or get something back, I always like to measure that in like from the perspective of how valuable your time is, right? Experiment Nation, you've heard me talk about how multiple investors across the nation are landing these lucrative midterm rental insurance contracts by making these small tweaks on the branding and marketing side, especially if you're an existing short-term rental operator. There is a quick an easy shift that you can make with the right guide in place. And because we've launched a 2-day boot camp that not everyone could attend in real time, I've put together a recording where you can get all the materials and all the guides to focus on rebranding either your short-term rental business or your current midterm rental business, so that you can actually have the insurance companies reach out to you. And then day 2 is if you want to actually play offense, how you can reach out to them by listing on the right platforms, etc. If you're looking to get this MTR bootcamp so that you can start optimizing and you can start receiving these lucrative contracts that again provide less headaches, less turnovers, unlike the Airbnb space, you can start receiving inquiries today by having the right guide in place. So please go to experimentrealestate.com/MTR bootcamp or click the link in the bio to make sure you get your hands on the midterm rental insurance bootcamp to fast track your way into landing these lucrative insurance contracts the exact same ways multiple investors have taken advantage of this unknown and untapped niche within the midterm rental umbrella. And so I thought that was again incredible in the sense of like, okay, that was like an example of me not being able to do the thing that would then have taken me a lot longer time, and it just expedited process, and all I had to do was ask. Then I had another situation before, and I won't get into the specifics of the vendor, but they had sent me this amount and I wanted to break it up, and I was like, I don't know, I should just figure out. Then I'm like, you know what, I'm just asking, like, can you just send me 2 invoices? It'll be better for my bookkeeping, etc. Like, yeah, sure, no problem. Boom, got that out of the way, right? Then I'm looking at my notes here. Another note, business funding. This is almost like pushing back a little bit. They did business one way. Then I told them how we do business. There was a disconnect. And I said, I asked them, like, can you guys take those? Actually, I'll give you some context behind this one. So for business funding, we're leveraging and I should probably record a whole episode on this. But as you start landing these large, lucrative midterm rental insurance contracts, there's companies that will lend based on the incoming accounts receivable that you're getting, which I think it's something that I'm just going to drop a little nugget here that you should highly look into if you're doing like an Airbnb business, or of course you're doing the if you're doing the Airbnb business, if you're doing the short-term rentals, if you're doing mid-term rentals, especially if you're doing what we do, where we get large contracts, and sometimes we even ask for them up front, which is another hack where you can say if you're getting $8,000 a month, you ask for that, you get 16 up front. It's nice cash injection. With that said, there's an opportunity for you to show to these creditors that you have a good influx of cash coming in, and they can lend you based on that. Now we use Relay Financial, and while I love Relay, it's amazing. Actually, nothing negative to say. It's more about what the banks have issues with them. It's like we have a bunch of virtual accounts. Because we have a bunch of virtual accounts, that's divided by essentially the profit share model, and not profit share. What am I trying to say? It's the not profit share, but the I can't think of the book right now. Actually, what's it called? Profit First. That's what it is. Profit First. And I believe that book is by the gentleman named Michaelovitz, and Profit First. So anyways, it's based on that model. You have every property has its own account, etc., which gets tricky when the bank starts to ask for bank statements, because we have multiple banks, virtual banks underneath the household banks. We have like a sweep account that goes to that bank. And so the reason why it was important for us to at least address / handle is that so it was complicating things with their system. And so she was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to work. And I'm like, no, how about we do that? How about you take my sweep account and then you use all the reserves from all these other accounts to make this work? And that was the difference between unlocking a large sum amount of money. And it was because I had to ask anyway. I had to push for it because Originally, she had shut it down. She's like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. We don't accept these banks. I'm like, how can we make this work? What would need to be true to make it work? Ask that question. If it's not a deal, what would make it a deal? If your rate doesn't get accepted when you submit a proposal to an insurance company on a contract, what would make it work? If you submit an offer and it doesn't get accepted, what would make it work? Ask anyway. There's the upside of that question is literally night and day. It can literally fast track your entire investment journey, but most people feel uncomfortable and won't ask the question. And when it costs you nothing to ask the question, I tell you, you can literally make some great leaps by just implementing this into your 2025 journey. So I want to share that with you, right? How can, asking anyway, how can we make this work? What would need to be true in order for us to make this work, right? Those are the kind of questions that completely change the game. So that's one thing. Then another one, this is crazy because I work with this lender and we were talking about some loan to values, etc. And she told me 1 loan to value ratio. And I've worked with her before. She basically is like literally the owner of the company, or at least the lead. And I'm working with the associate. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm trying to make these numbers work on this specific deal. Just to double check, you guys don't do more than this LTV. I think it was like 95% or something like that. And it was like, or 90%. I was like, yeah, we do. And I'm like, that's crazy because I just spoke with such and such. And I was literally not about to ask. I'm like, she already told me. Why would I ask? Like, they're from the same company. Here's a huge hack. If you get one piece of information from a company, ask somebody else. And if you get another one, make sure it's in writing, but you will literally get by so many other things. Like you can call Airbnb and be like, I need you to take this review down. And they're like, we can't take it down. Hang up, call again, ask for a different person, or you get a different person. You get the name of the person from before. And if it's another person, say, hey, I just called back. Maybe I just, I just wanted to, you ask them, they give you a different answer. They give you a whole different outcome. Ask anyway. You don't like what one lender tells you, go to the other. You don't like from the same company even. Like it's crazy. It's happened so many times where I'm like, dude, I just spoke to someone else. Do you guys work for the same company? Because I was told different pieces of information. You don't like an answer? Call again and ask anyway. I can't tell you how powerful that is. You can't cancel this membership thing because they told you can't cancel it and the policy says override it. Hang up, call back, ask anyway. Hey, maybe I was a misunderstanding. I tried to call back and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter, right? Just call back and be like, hey, like you don't even need to mention the other person. Just clean slate. I'd like to get this done. I like to get this done. I like to get this done. Rejection, exception. Same company, even the same roof. The good news, if it doesn't happen under the same roof and you have the level of persistence, then guess what? Go to another company that's going to appreciate and be willing to take your business. That part. Okay. So that's right there. And then last but not least, same negotiation, was negotiating a rate with a client. We went back and forth several times, and I just got the approval on my desk. Higher rate approved, ready to go, submit it. Boom. Right. This is a separate consulting client that I'm working with. Ask anyway. And I wasn't about to ask. As a matter of fact, I could have asked this question 6 months ago. So my question to you is, what question are you not asking anyway that can completely change the experiments in your lab, in your life? Ask anyway. Will you? The worst thing that happens is you're exactly where you left off before you had asked. And the other is that you get to the other side of your goal, your dreams, wants, and desires. Ask anyways. Shall we?
Experimentation. I believe there are 2 critical components that will help you achieve your goals very quickly and succeed. Number 1, it's information like this that you received on a show, in an episode, and content that you can find on my YouTube channel or anybody's channel. And then there's a community. And the way we've been able to expedite our process, the way people in our community, people that we consult, mastermind members, whoever, they get the information on an episode like this, but then they also have a support, whether it's me guiding them or being guided through a community. There is an opportunity for you listening to be able to expedite your process or even expedite your results that you're seeking by being part of the community. If that is what you're interested in, we at Experiment Nation happen to have a community devoted to helping maximize your occupancy and your profitability altogether, regardless of which market that you are in. And for that reason, you have an opportunity where you can go to experimentrealestate.com/submit if you're looking to work in an environment that can help you prosper faster. Call out any areas that you might not be familiar in, especially the blind spots. That's where a guide comes in hand, and I would be a pleasure and honor to be your guide. But in order to make sure you're a good fit, make sure you go to experimentrealestate.com/submit so that my team can go ahead and take it and see if you're a good fit to join the mastermind and the multiple programs that we have. In addition to that, I'm also now a YouTube partner, which means that I want to give you more access to information, more access to Q&As, more access to the questions that actually come out of our mastermind to help people expedite the process. We've seen people get anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 to even $7,000 a month net on just one door by applying the strategies that we use by working with corporations and furnished accommodation in a very strategic way. So if you're interested, make sure you also subscribe, because I'm going to have different tiers that's on YouTube now that we've become YouTube partner to continue to be the bridge to your success in your lab. And your lab means your life, your goals, or wherever you're trying to head. So make sure you also hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/real estate experiment. We'll be there. You can also look us up at Midterm Rental Insurance Experiment. We will be there. Make sure you hit the subscribe, because that's when you'll know the tiers that are available to you that make sense for you in your marketplace for your results. Remember, you're only one experiment away. Let's build.